All right, welcome back to the Gym Profit Podcast. So we've got a good one today, Brad. We're fired up, coming off a conversation with one of our clients that is, I would say like a lower tier gym, just in terms of his revenue. And so there's a lot to work on there. And yesterday we were talking about, man, I have people that end up canceling after 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever, just relatively early in the process, where a lot of his long-term clients have been there for five years at this point, right? And so why are new people canceling? Why are people getting started with you and then maybe having the wrong expectations, not seeing the results that they want? And mainly what we want to talk about today is the sales process. When we dug in with this client yesterday, we realized that what he was selling was exactly aligned with someone that will cancel 6 weeks in, right? And so just to kick this off, I would say there's three levels of gym sales, right? And level three is really where we want to be if we want to get a long-term member that's committed for the right reasons, that is not having a short-term mentality starting off. But a lot of gym owners aren't even close to this. And it's pretty amazing what they actually sell. And then when we get started with them, what's frustrating for us is we put so much time and effort into the marketing. And then we dig into the sales process, which every gym owner says, I don't have a problem with sales. And then once we dig in, we're like, this is atrocious. We need to clean this up. And so we want to make the most out of our marketing dollars. We don't want to blow it in the sales process by either missing the sale, selling them the wrong thing, or just having a member that you invest in that we got from, running ads. You invest in them and then they fall off 6 weeks later. So to start off, level one of gym sales, the worst of the worst. And if you have no experience with like running ads or bringing in a cold prospect, you probably do this, which there's nothing inherently wrong with it if you want to just lose members pretty consistently. But if you want to keep people long term, level one is just selling people into your existing process, which is probably starting on a membership. Like, let's just say you're a large group and you're $200 a month. A referral comes in. You do very little discovery, very little background on what it is they actually want. You just assume that because they're a referral from Susan, they want the same thing. Huge mistake, right? Because that person most likely needs something different. And you had the opportunity to maybe work with them in a one-on-one setting. You had the opportunity to maybe coach them on their nutrition. But because you kind of assumed the sale and you were just like, this is a referral from someone in group, let's just sell them a group membership, you completely miss the opportunity to change that person's life, because that person then gets into group but needed more one-on-one attention, needed more of a onboarding process, needed to understand the right expectations, and then you wonder why a month in she's like, yeah, CrossFit's not for me. So anything to add with level one, Brad, with people that are just like, cool,
Oh, yeah.
this is our process, we get referrals, we just sell them a membership.
Yep. The analogy that comes to mind for me, it's I recently bought one of our coaches a MacBook and went to the store, bought the MacBook. If I were to tell someone, hey, like you need to go to Best Buy, like I did, and buy a MacBook. The expectation is that they're just getting a service there. They're getting an item. But that's not what happens when you get a referral. That person went and said, you need to go buy from Jay. He is the best I know. They really don't care about the service offering, they care about the person. And I think we do ourselves a tremendous disservice if someone comes in wanting this incredible experience and what you offer is, cool, this is what our service is.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the expected value that they had coming in from being recommended from a friend is up here from a service fulfillment standpoint and client experience. But we're just saying, like, cool, this is a laydown. Yep, here's our menu of options. This
Mm-hmm.
sounds good. All right, let's go.
Yep.
I would
Yeah.
say you actually need to do even a better job building that relationship and really cementing why your friend chose this place, why they recommended this place to you.
Right. And before we started this episode, we were talking, the reason people cancel is just always a disparity in expectations, right? Like they expected better results or they expected to do less work. That's another one. But they had this disparity in expectations where they're coming from a referral, and so if Susie's getting these crazy results, they expect those results, not understanding that she did the work, right? The gym and your business helped facilitate that, but she did the work. So we're treating everyone as the same type of discipline, or they're going to be at the same level of internal responsibility to make shit happen, when in reality we know that's not true. We know that we need to do a lot of work up front to peel back the onion a little bit and kind of see what this person actually needs, and oftentimes it's going to be different than the referral that brought them in.
Yes.
Cool. So that's level one, and it's not good. Let's break out of level one. Level two, this is a more advanced way of selling, which is you're actually selling to a result. So good job. Someone comes in, you're trying to do some discovery, and you're getting an idea of what they're doing now to try to see the results that they want, what they've done in the past, maybe how long they've done it. And then you're using this formula, which went pretty viral in the gym coaching world, which is, from Hormozy back in the day, from Gym Launch, which is sell, fitness, nutrition, accountability, right? These three things that contribute to results, right? If someone doesn't have a nutrition protocol, got it, makes sense. They're probably not going to see results. If someone doesn't have the right fitness routine, totally, they need that as part of getting results. And then the last one, this is where we really dig in. We need people to understand why they haven't seen results before. And so we end up working with a ton of gyms that are mainly selling accountability. And they're getting the prospect to admit, okay, yes, the reason why I haven't seen results is because I can't do this on my own. I need someone to keep me on track. Totally valid. But I would argue if you end the process there, you are shooting yourself in the foot. And so in our conversation with the gym owner yesterday, he was selling this way. He was, asking them about their fitness routine, asking them about their nutrition routine, getting an idea of like why that is or isn't working. And then the last piece is, talking about why they haven't been able to actually stick with something. And the theory or the approach here is to get them to admit that they need someone like you, they need a coach to keep them on track, which is totally valid. But still, the main difference here is I would argue if you end it there, you're still having the prospect externalize responsibility on you. Okay? So you go through this whole thing. You get an idea of their fitness routine, their nutrition routine, and then you're saying, you need accountability. You need us, right? That prospect, if you end it there, is like, yes, I need you to do all the work for me, right? I need you to solve these problems for me. And the problem with that is we know that the person has to do the work, right? So anything to add there with the fitness, nutrition, accountability, Brad?
Yeah, and we can curse on this.
Yeah, we
It's
can.
the shitty boyfriend sales pitch. It is, you cannot do this without me. You need me. In fact, you are nothing without me. The only way that you will have value and achieve your goal is with me.
Mm-hmm.
That is insanity.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are pre-framing a consultation with that, you will always be reliant on us. The prospect in their head is running through this subconsciously. So for the rest of my life, I need a coach. Okay, this is $400 a month for the rest of my life. That's 400 times 12, $4,800 a year times the next 20 years of my life. That's a lot of money. Oh my God, I can't do this. It's insane. And also, that person is going to be terrible to work with. Are you going to want to be coaching an RDL to the same person 2 years from now? Cool, I need you to really push back into your hips. Hey, like make sure you track your protein. That is what leads to coaching burnout. Um, the intent behind this should really be autonomy for your clients. How I like to phrase this is my job is to get this where you can fire me.
Mm-hmm.
but you choose to stay here because you love the culture that you've helped build here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
and when we work with clients on their client journey, on their customer journey for their gym, that's always the end stage, is usually some form of autonomy. But when you're selling accountability, you're basically saying you're never going to get there.
yeah,
And so, yeah.
you know, I cannot say a single gym that I've worked with, mentoring, and just gym owners I've known over the last decade, who their sales pitch is, we have the three pillars: we have fitness, nutrition, accountability, and they break down all three to you. I can't name a single one that actually runs a good business. They are usually churn factories.
Yes.
Their LTV is atrocious, and they actually don't do any of the things they say. You don't really do nutrition. You have a template that Hormozy gave you from some guy that he took it from. Great. So you have that. You have the fitness component, which you have unqualified coaches with lackluster program that you pay $15 an hour. That's not really a fitness component.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also slap on top accountability, which you've tried to be lazy and automate, and you think ChatGPT is your friend by sending automated text messages every 2 weeks, or like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. That is not accountability.
Right.
Accountability is holding up a mirror to someone and showing like their decisions have got them there, and the only way out is them.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good segue into the third type of sales, which let's get to in 1 second. I want to add to this second one, which is just a note. If you sell fitness, nutrition, accountability, you will make sales, right?
Yep.
However, these are the people that as soon as it gets hard, they stop showing up and then they cancel, right? Because you sold them the wrong thing, right? You didn't have the conversation was not deep enough. And then last thing, you'll make sales this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then even worse, I see a lot of gym owners, if they can't get the sale or at the very end of the pitch, they even add a guarantee. And that guarantee is usually something like, hey, if you don't see results, we'll give you your money back, or you're going to lose XYZ amount of weight or body fat percentage in this time frame, or we'll give you your money back, or we'll continue working with you. The shift that needs to happen in every gym owner's mind is you physically cannot have a guarantee in your gym. This is our belief, because how can you guarantee that someone does the work?
Yeah, it's trust fund baby fitness when you do that. It is saying, hey, you have this safety net no matter what. There is no risk for you. The person that has risk implied with something, think about when you opened your business. If you had $200,000 of outside funding, I know I probably wouldn't be in business still from when I started. I would have burned through that cash, made terrible decisions, not really like taken action the way I should have. When I had $0 and it was all self-funded, I applied every single thing I invested in heavily. And I think that's a huge disservice we do to clients when we give them a guarantee to push them over the edge of the consult and close them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really setting the precedent with them that, hey, no matter what happens, you always have an out.
Right.
That's
And
crazy.
they go in with that mentality, is I always have an out. And so let's talk about the third one. So what I called it was, we're going to sell internalizing responsibility to a long-term outcome. So that would be level 3. No one gets here in our experience unless they work with us and they get our help, which is an advanced way of selling. But essentially what we need to do is, like you said previously, your job in the sales conversation is to hold a mirror to the prospect and say, who is responsible for the decisions that got you here? 20 pounds overweight, 50 pounds overweight, whatever it is, whatever situation there is, in this sales conversation, it is your obligation to hold that mirror to them and make them understand that no one else put them in this situation. And therefore, no one else, even us, are going to be the sole thing that gets you out. We need people to take responsibility from day one in the sales conversation before you sell them, right? So if you just stay at level 2 and you sell them into a 6-week program where they're coming in on a guarantee, there is zero acceptance that the responsibility is on them. I would argue you did a poor job because you put all the responsibility on you. That you're there to save them and get them the results that they could never get, right? So, Brad, what are some ways that you go through the sales process and you actually are able to hold that mirror and say, look, we're here to guide you. We're here to help you get to XYZ goal. We're here to give you the tools, the support, but you're going to be the one that does it, right? And we need to have someone in the sales conversation make that mental shift to be like, oh, I get it now. This is why nothing worked. I was looking for someone else to do the work for me, or someone, or the right tactic, or the right, perfect plan that was going to, change my life versus what we do in these sales conversations.
Yeah, it's a two-part answer in my head. The first thing that comes to mind is if you're at the level 2 sales and you're getting into some of the, hey, like, what have you tried? What worked? What didn't work? Taking that a little bit further, rather than the what, getting into the why. Why do you feel? Feel is an important word. Why do you feel that didn't work for you? If that was working, why did you stop?
Mm-hmm.
Getting them to really get clear on those things. Then going into, once we've built value, we've seen that this person's qualified for our service, and we've asked for permission to explain what we do. We then get to the end of the consultation. Do you feel this could be the solution that gets you where you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say yes. Don't let them off the hook and go for the sale right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? What's different this time? Because you've probably said this before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this time, I have more time, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but you probably had time at some point in the past. Why didn't it happen then? And this is scary for a lot of people in a sales consultation, because as owners of a business, you want to close that sale. As soon as someone says, yep, you are, all right, let's get their credit card on, like, process, let's make it real.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do that. Jay, you said something really smart at the start of this call, and that is you can have a sales problem in your gym. Like, most owners have a sales problem in their gym. And I would say a sales problem is not a lack of closing people. You can close 100% of people and have a tremendous sales problem because you're bringing on the wrong ones. You should be saying no to people. People should be saying no to you. That is great. We want that. But that only happens if we're challenging people in these conversations. So it's getting them to own their outcome. That's a core value at our facility. And I'll tell clients that, like, hey, I'm not responsible for anything that you do. I can help guide you. I can support you. But the results you've gotten to this point are your responsibility. And the amazing news, who is the only person that can get you out of this?
It's the best news.
It's the best news.
And that's a great way to frame it. That's a great way to frame it, because it lowers the sales resistance there. Like, this is good news that it's your fault and it's your responsibility. And the only way you get there is if you dig in. Like you said, Brad, it's like, why is now the right time? And they're like, well, I have more time, I have more money, etc. Okay, well, 3 months from now, what if you don't have time? And what if your money situation changes? Like, what does it look like working with us? And you're trying to get the prospect to say, you know what? I get it. It's my responsibility. I'm going to make this a priority. And this is where, Brad, you do this so well in your facility. This is the first step to changing someone's identity, which once you do that, they're a member for their entire life, right?
Done.
You don't have an attrition problem. But if you don't challenge, if you don't push back, if you don't ask the right questions, if you don't get the prospect to get into their emotions and realize it's my fault and it's my responsibility moving forward, and you're saying, here's our perfect fitness program, here's why our nutrition program is going to work for you, and by the way, we're going to text you every week so you can't bail on us. Oh, and if you have any concern about the risk, I'll give you your money back after 6 weeks. Do you see hopefully, for you guys listening to this, you see the difference in a prospect that goes through path A, which is fitness, nutrition, accountability with a guarantee, and path B, getting deep enough for the prospect to finally accept responsibility for their decisions.
Yeah. I think a lot of people took the advice of sell the destination, not the journey. They took it too literally. And they look at their service offering and say how amazing it is and how it's going to solve XYZ, and you're a perfect fit. Let's get started. I sell the arduous journey. I tell clients, hey, I want to give you a heads up. You're going to get 8, 12 weeks in, and you're probably going to want to quit. That's normal. I want you to expect that. Our job is to help you navigate those times. I'm pre-framing that they're going to have periods where they want to quit. Hey, you're going to have a time where money gets tight.
Back to what we talked about, expectations. You're setting the expectation before you take their money that this is going to be challenging. And I would argue that if you are honest and truthful and you're saying these things up front, you don't need to sell the destination of six-pack abs and being down XYZ pounds. Like, what is happening here is true, authentic connection is being built between you, the coach, and the prospect. And so now they believe you. And when those, times come when it's difficult, they're going to believe that you can get them out of it, and they're not just going to quit.
Yeah. They don't need a savior. They don't need you to be a hero. They need someone with the courage and balls to be honest and authentic.
100%. So that is level 3. I recommend all gym owners that want to serve their clients at the highest level get to level 3, which is, just to recap, you are selling the internalizing responsibility to a long-term outcome. So that prospect is saying, yes, I want to work with velocity. And I fully understand by taking this leap and handing over money, they are going to guide me to the outcome I want, but I am going to do the work. And by the way, it's probably going to be really hard, but this time I understand that's okay. And I'm going to get through it with the help of my coach. That's a different sale than I'm going to get shredded in 6 weeks.
It is so much easier to work with a client like that, and the results are so much better. The client outcome, they'll get through their initial 12 weeks with you, 6 months. They'll lose the initial weight. And then a year from then, they're really going to surprise you because they don't stop. They keep going. Like, their boundaries for what they perceive to be possible for themselves change. You start hearing things like, man, I'm so glad I came here because I lost weight. It's, my life has gotten better. I have a husband and a wife that have worked with us together for, I think, 5 years, back when we didn't know what we were doing. And they've been part of this evolution, and they've gotten amazing results. And, they have, I think, 4 kids, a 5th on the way. And they said this is the single best investment in their family they've ever made. That does not happen when you sell fitness, nutrition, and accountability.
Just to wrap this up too, so a couple little caveats to this thing. You can have that amazing sales process, right? You can have level 3, you're getting the prospect to internalize responsibility. They're like, yep, I'm going to be here and I'm going to lose 50 pounds and I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to take a year. It's going to take 2 years, whatever. And then you sell them your program, and your program is 6 days a week, high intensity interval training, and they get burnt out. So just a caveat to this whole thing, just make sure what you're selling, what you end up selling is actually prescribing the program. Once they have that level of buy-in, it actually is an appropriate program for them. I mean, still we see gyms that are just smashing people and just wrecking their bodies and, wondering why people cancel. So this whole podcast or this whole episode was based around how do I get people to stop canceling at week 6 or, 2 months in or 90 days in. Just make sure your fulfillment is actually what the prospect needs. And for a lot of people, it's less. And that is surprising for a lot of gym owners, I think especially CrossFit owners that are saying, yep, come 5 days a week and do Metcons 5 days a week, right? And, I hope it forces some owners to think about their fulfillment and think about their programming and think about how they actually put someone into a program like this that is designed to get them the outcome that they want, because it's probably going to change the way you think about your fulfillment.
Yes. I could jam on this for an hour.
Yeah,
But
we don't, well, let's keep it sales oriented today. We can dig
yeah,
into that on another episode. But the last thing I would say is, so first of all, make sure your fulfillment is aligned and is right for the prospect once you make the sale and you get them through that transition. But then on the ad, Brad, we launched an ad for you like 2 weeks ago. And the same way in your sales conversation, you are having the prospect take full responsibility for their decisions thus far and their decisions moving forward. In the actual ad video, we say the same things, right? We say, hey, have you made promises to yourself that you couldn't keep? Are you sick of, not living up to the things that you say you can do? And then when you have these conversations in a sales setting, it's just congruent all the way through. So I would actually argue that getting someone to not cancel 6 weeks in actually starts from the ad and then the sales process and then the fulfillment, right?
this is it's the difference between a gym doing 35,000 a month and a gym doing $70,000 a month. And a quote I use a lot is the final thing that must die for someone to become a leader is their need for approval from others. So it starts with being authentic in your communication, authentic in these consultations, authentic in your messaging that's outbound. The beautiful thing about that ad that I shot, I literally just flipped the camera around in the middle of the workout when I was thinking, and I just said exactly what was on my mind. And that is our ad that outperforms the ones we spent $1,500 having editing done on.
Yep, 100%. And I tell this to gym owners all the time. By the time you've filmed an authentic direct-to-camera ad, you've done 95% of the work.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are scared to do it, but the reason that video is working so well is because it's authentically you, and then it attracts the people that are bought into that, and then the sales conversation is easier for you to open up and get people to internalize responsibility. So it starts with the ad. Like, what message are you putting out? Are you putting out 6 week, get ripped, get abs in 6 weeks? Or are you saying, hey, are you frustrated and disappointed at yourself for not doing the things that you said you were going to do? Right away, we're attracting a lead that's starting to think, maybe this is my fault, right? And maybe I can do something about it. So, man, with that, I think that was valuable. Hopefully, you guys are working towards level 3 of gym sales. If you need our help with any of this, with your fulfillment, your client journey, your onboarding, with attrition, man, if your attrition is above 3%, get that shit down ASAP so that you can stop losing members and bleeding clients. Then layer on paid acquisition that gets you the right clients, just like Brad, by having the right message, hit the right people into the right sales process, and then you keep members for a really, really long time. And you'd be surprised where your business literally doubles inside of 6 to 12 months. So if you need our help, Fitrevconsulting.com. Check us out. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on our website. Check us out on our podcast. Listen to more of these episodes. If you need any help, reach out. This is what we do. We promise 2 things at FitRev. You will acquire more customers every single month, and your clients will pay more money, refer more people, and stay longer. So with that, if you want those 2 things, reach out to us. Brad, anything else before we jump off?
No, show up. Yes, show up authentically. It is the greatest value that you have. It is the most important thing you will ever do personally and professionally in your business. You cannot ask people to internalize responsibility and make these massive changes until you internalize responsibility.
Amazing point. Amazing point. You got to lead by example, and that way, when you open up the sales conversation, you're not a fraud, right? You are actually living by what you say. So with that, if you need our help, we got your back. We do this shit all the time. Fitrevconsulting.com. We'll see you guys soon.